Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel Physics Surgery, and this is the fourth video in the series that I have started recently to help the students out with their JEE mains examination, upcoming one, where I believe the extra syllabus part of the physics is going to play a great role in altering the ranks of the students. And these are the topics, as you could see on the right top of your screen, which are less practiced by students, but JEE mains doesn't leave any stone unturned in asking questions. Quite a few number of questions come within those 25 questions, at the max 6 7, and minimum 2 or 3 questions do end up coming in each shift. Okay, so what we are doing is, we are surfing through the previous NTA conducted exams, one in the 2020 January shift, and when NTO took over in 2019, it had two shifts in January and April. So those are the papers. So we are coming in the backward chronological order. So we have already finished in the first three videos the 2020 papers. When we are into 2019 papers, and these are the shifts. As you could see in video 4, we are going to cover 10th April both the shifts and 9th April shift 2, right? So without much further ado, let's go and revise the concepts that are important for the JEE mains examination. Okay, as I say, this is the alpha and the omega of your preparation, which is the initial and final step. Okay, so let's move on. And I would be going a bit faster in these videos because there will be some of the concepts which will be repeated from the previous 1, 2, and 3 videos. So in case you are watching this video without watching those completely, please, I would suggest go through in the same order. So video 1 has more elaboration on certain concepts as compared to the later stage videos. Okay, so this is a Zener question that keeps appearing in different forms. Okay, so let's see. The figure contains a voltage regulator circuit using a Zener diode. The breakdown voltage of Zener diode is 6 volt and load resistance is 4 kilo ohm. The series resistance of the circuit is 1 kilo ohm here, and the battery voltage VB varies from 8 volt to 16 volt. So this is the unregulated supply. Okay, what are the minimum and maximum currents through the Zener diode? So this is the question that has been asked. Okay, so you want to give it a try, just have a pause and then move ahead with the solution that I'm going to provide. Okay, right, here it is. I've recreated the diagram with the important numbers. So he said this is 8 to 16 volt, and this he said is working condition. Remember, Zener always works in the reverse bias. So all those explanations are there in video 1 for complete concepts. Okay, so here we are going through the problems quickly. So the 4 kilo ohm here will be across 6 volt. Therefore, the current in this is fixed. That's the whole agenda of Zener diode. So the fixed current should be 1.5 milliampere here. Whereas since this is 6 volt, that means across these 2 points, and across these 2 points it is 8 to 16. So across these two, according to KVL, should be 8 minus 6 or 16 minus 6. So range of the voltage across this RI should be simply 2 to 10 volt. Okay, since this is 1 kilo ohm, therefore the current in that would be divided by this 1 kilo ohm. You end up getting 2 to 10 milliampere. Since this is 2 to 10 milliampere and this has been fixed at 1.5, simple KCL gives you subtraction of these two numbers, 2 and this 1.5 gives you 0.5, 10 and 1.5 gives you 8.5. So the range of the current that will flow through the Zener, so that the current in the load is a constant, is from 0.5 to 8.5, which makes the answer to this question D. Okay, right. So let's move on. This was a pretty straightforward looking question, but you need to be very smart, right? Given below is in the left column are different modes of communication, and using the kinds of waves in the right column, you're supposed to match the appropriate options. Optical fiber communication, radar, sonar, and mobile phones, ultrasound, infrared light, microwaves, and radio waves. Have a pause, just try it for 30 seconds, and then you can go ahead with the solution I'm going to give. It's not much of a solution actually. Honest students, they should know actually these are the present ongoing technological advancements that are happening right now around the world. So it's JEE Mains is well within rights to check whether you are having that general knowledge or not. Okay, so but when you have options here, I think you need to be able to be smart in case you know or you don't know some of them. Okay, so we should realize out of these four, sonar, which means sound navigation and ranging, that's the full form of sonar, is the only sound waves among these, right? So this is sound, all other are electromagnetic waves. So out of these, the sound part is only here. So C should match to P, and which of the options has C to P? Only one option. So that should be the correct answer. Rest of the things also you should be able to know. So in case you're watching this on mobile phone, you should know again mobile phone works on microwaves. There are many videos on YouTube you might go and check where they try to put the mobile phone inside a microwave oven to see whether the call is received or not, whether the microwave oven blocks these microwaves or not from outside. So many such things. So these are, as you could see. And radar, which is nothing but, in the name itself you have radio um, uh, detection and ranging, radio detection and ranging, that should be related to radio waves. As you could see, its B is S. And optical fiber communication, which is the whole backbone of the broadband internet connections and industry, is related to the infrared light. Okay, so that is very, very important. So this is the answer. Even if you had known sonar related to sound and ultrasound, I think should have marked it easily. Okay, right. Let's move on. An NPN transistor operates as common emitter amplifier with a power gain of 60 dB. This is new. Okay, let's see. The input circuit resistance is 100 ohm and the output load resistance is 10 kilo ohm. The common emitter current gain beta is. Okay, so they've written a lot of stuff. So we want to give it a try. Just have a pause and then move on. So here it is. I've written the question again. So this is something new. You have to watch video 2 to understand, or video 3, I think, in order to understand how an NPN transistor works. I've explained it clearly there. So there the power gain formula and everything were written down. But there is a small difference. In that chapter or in that particular video, we discuss, and even in NCRT also, power gain is always given in the form of a ratio. Here is given in terms of a noise, decibels. Okay, right? So you should realize that the power gain formula, which was beta square into R out by Rn as a ratio, the power gain is usually measured as final power by initial power, but it may also be measured as decibels, similar to the loudness in sound. This is a common operation. So whatever ratio you have here, you just substitute in the decibel scale that we have as 10 log AP to 10, then you end up getting with the 60, this is nothing but 10 power 6. That you put it back in this is 10 power 6 in essence, and beta square R out by Rn. Okay, R out and Rn are mentioned. As you could see, input is 100 and output resistance is 10 kilo ohm, and substitute and you get the value of beta is equal to 100. Okay, so this is the correct answer. So you should know what is meant by, in the exam situation, suddenly he asks 60 dB, just try to use some common sense and get out of it. Okay, right. So let's move on. This is one of the best electromagnetic wave questions that has been asked, and this is actually a repeat question from 2016 JEE mains paper. Okay, so let's see. Electromagnetic waves with standing waves, as you could see. Okay, so electric field of a plane electromagnetic wave is given by E naught I cos kz cos omega t. So it's a product. Corresponding magnetic field standing wave is given by, so it's given 4 options. Want to have a try? Just go ahead, and here's the solution. So since it is standing wave, please understand all our rules that we have set up, and quite a few number of rules we spoke of in all the 3 videos. I think best video is the first one, in which I have explained the nitty-gritties of the electromagnetic waves, how to convert from E bar to B bar, and what is the direction of propagation. All those things were discussed there. So please do watch that in order to have complete explanation. So I am going ahead with the proper formal way of explaining here. So when you have a product of cost functions, you can split it into 2 traveling waves. A simple one, divide by 2, multiplied by 2, 2 cos A cos B is cos of A minus B plus cos of A plus B. Okay, right, simple. Now what you do is apply all the rules that I taught in video 1 to this one to convert it to magnetic field. Right, and the rules in short, if you are lazy, are these, right? E is BC, E cap is B cap cross C cap. C cap is the direction of propagation. Can you see direction of propagation is here in the Z, positive Z direction? So this is K cap, and therefore you can also cyclically change these things, right? I told you E B C, then it could be C E B or B C E. B cap is C cap cross E cap. Cyclical version also works. So the direction of B cap in this problem would be direction of C cap, which is K cap, cross E cap, which is I cap. So K cross I is how much? J. So you have a J outside. And always electric and magnetic fields are in phase. So whatever he's here, you should write here. Simultaneously, you do it for the same logic here. You get the cos as it is, but outside you'll get a minus j. Then you add the two because it has to produce a standing wave. So split, calculate, and then add back. You end up getting sine and sine. So standing waves, you should not write the same thing. If it is cos cos here, don't write sine sine cos cos here. If cos is converted to a traveling wave, for traveling wave in phase works, this traveling wave in phase works, and then we add because of a minus outside, you end up getting a product of sines. Okay, so this is a commonly committed mistake by the students, and a lot of students lost the marks in this particular question in that exam. Okay, so this was one of the toughest, you could say, plain electromagnetic wave question. Okay, so I hope you understood this. Let's move forward. Oh, let's mark that answer. Answer I think is the B option. Oh, sorry, D option. Okay, right. So next one is the transformer question. I think in the first three videos, we didn't have a transformer question. So this is the first time. So a transformer consisting of 300 turns in primary and 150 turns in secondary gives output power of 2.2 kilowatt. If the current in the secondary coils is 10 ampere, then the input voltage and current in the primary coil are. Okay, right. So transformer always works on only 2 or 3 principles. So in case you know that, try it out. Otherwise, let's go for the solution. Okay. So two important things in an ideal transformer. We in JEE mains will are going to be asked only on ideal transformers. Okay, so first things first, the power is conserved. Okay, so there is power on primary, which is VP into IP, should be equal to the power on secondary. So whether it is output power or input power, ideal transformer, it should be the same value. So whatever he gave here, I've substituted here. So one is power conservation. Second one is the flux conservation. If you draw the entire structure of the transformer, the number of field lines that are passing through, or the flux that is passing through primary, is transferred onto the secondary side using an iron core. Okay, right? So second information is the flux. Actually, these are more fundamental. What textbooks do is they divide these two equations, power and flux conservation. You can see divide LHS and divide RHS. You end up having the ice cancellation, and you'll get more famous formula. So this is a derived formula from the two principal quantities. Okay, so that's why you have ratio of Vp by Np is equal to Vs by Ns. Okay, so in this problem, you don't need this actually. This is for a future question. Keep it aside. So using this first, I'll start from here. Can you see the turn ratio is given? Therefore, current ratio can be found out. He gave secondary current, both the turns, so you can get the primary current here. So substitute the value of this primary current into this equation with already the output and input power known to us. So you'll get the value of Vp. The Vp that he's asking is 440 volt, and IP that he's asking is 5 ampere. It's a simple manipulation of two equations, and in future a question which could be asked on this. Okay, so what should be the correct answer here? 440 volt and 5 ampere. Okay, right. So let's move ahead. This is on damped oscillators from your 11th class NCERT textbook. A displacement of a damped harmonic oscillator is given by, you could see damped oscillators always have an exponentially decaying amplitude. Capital A itself is a function of time into cos of this phase function, where t is in seconds. Time taken for its amplitude of vibration to drop to half of its initial value is close to. This is by far the easiest question on damped oscillators. So you want to have a try, pause, move on. Okay, right. So let's go ahead. The question is very simple. Actually, there's nothing about damped oscillators that he could have asked about phi or something. This is very simple. He said amplitude is given. He wants this amplitude to decay to half its value. Any exponential function with a time constant equal to 1 by 0.1, you could see t by tau, right? Tau is 1 by 1.1 is 10 seconds. We all know this will fall to 1/2 of its value, either from your nuclear physics or from RC circuits or all that. This is very familiar one. It's tau ln 2. So the answer for that would be tau is 10 seconds, ln 2 is 0.693, you get 6.93 as the answer, and which is closest to 7 seconds. But there could be much tougher questions on damped harmonic oscillators. I'll try to cover them in video number 5 or 6. Okay, so let's move on. A diameter of objective lens of a telescope is 250 centimeters. Find for light of wavelength 600 nanometer coming from a distant object, the limit of resolution of telescope is close to. Okay, right. Have a try and then we'll move on to the solution. Okay. So the limit of resolution, which is nothing but the smallest possible angle that can be resolved, right? And this has been discussed both very elaborately with pictures and explanation in video 1 and 2. So please make sure you watch through that. So we have discussed that it is 1.22 lambda divided by a, where a is diameter. And I also told you in that video that 1 by bonus fact is 1 by this angle ratio, 1 by this angle is called resolving power. So in one exam he asks resolving power, another exam he talks about the limit of resolution. So you can check the units also here. Resolving power units would be radian inverse. Okay, right. So 1.22 lambda by a, where a is the diameter. Okay, right. And this is substituted, whatever numbers that are given, it's just substitution. You all should understand that the questions from rotational mechanics would be tougher. And there you already know the syllabus. Here the questions are easier. It's just that you need to know what you need to understand. That's it. Okay, so these are the easiest questions to score marks over others, because a lot of students leave these questions. Okay, so let's move on. I think answer for this question is 2.9 into 10 power minus 7. So the closest would be this answer. Okay, this was a controversial question on significant figures. So area of a square is 5.29 centimeters square. The area of 7 such squares, taking into account the significant figures, is. Have a try, pause, and then let's move on. Okay. So whenever you have 5.29 and 7 such squares, you are supposed to multiply the two, right? So let's have a very basic understanding. Area of a circle formula is pi r square, right? We all know that. Perimeter of a square is 4 times its side. In all of these, r, which is radius, and side a are measurements. You can measure it in an experiment. But pi in this formula and 4 in this formula are called pure numbers. Any pure number, which is not a measurement, which is an exact number, will have infinite significant figures. So when you are multiplying them with a measurement, these will not um, cause uncertainties. Okay, so 7 like that here is a perfectly countable number. This is not a measurement. If someone asks you how many significant figures are there in this 7, you would say infinite. It's a perfect number. There's no uncertainty in that. So 7 is a pure number in the given question. So area is 7 times of 5.29. In calculator you'll get this. Okay, right? Multiplication rule tells you that whatever the number of significant digits are there in the entire number that you are using, that many significant figures should be there in the answer. How many are there here? 3. So this should be rounded off to 3, which is 37.0. And NTA actually gave this key as 37.03, which is a wrong key. Okay, so key given by NTA is wrong. They gave 37.03. Answer should have been 37.0. Okay, right. So in future, I don't think they'll repeat this mistake. I hope they do give the correct answer. Okay, right. Next one is on communication systems. So physical sizes of transmitter and receiver antenna in a communication system are: size of antennas, he's talking about whether it's proportional to carrier frequency, inversely proportional to modulation frequency, inversely proportional to carrier frequency, and independent of both carrier and modulation frequencies. Okay, so have a try, pause, try it out, and then we move on. Okay, so here's the solution and all the explanation that is needed. Okay, right. So what is an antenna? Antenna actually either sends out electromagnetic waves or receives. So it's like a rod that you can have. There are many shapes of antenna. I have taken a simple case of a dipole antenna. It's dipole antenna. A dipole antenna, whenever it transmits or receives waves, it does so with EM waves forming almost standing waves. So similar to standing waves in string and sound, here there are EM waves. So can you see this green colored structure that I have drawn is like an EM wave, which is vibrating on this particular length L of the antenna. So we all know from the node to node distance that the value of L should be approximately lambda by 2, where lambda is the wavelength, and lambda is C divided by frequency. So L from all of this is proportional to 1 by frequency. And that's why people say if you want a shorter length antenna, either to transmit or to receive, you want shorter length antenna. You don't want antenna to be building size. You just want an antenna in, let's say, centimeters to meters. Then you want to send waves or receive waves which are very high frequency. Smaller the frequency, in order to send or receive, you need larger lengths of antenna. That's the whole purpose. That's why we want to reduce the sizes of antenna. We don't send low frequency message signals. As I am right now speaking, my sound or my message signal could be actually a low frequency one. You don't directly send that frequency sound. Okay, what you do, instead we use carrier signal, mask that thing and modulate that I remember amplitude modulation and all that. We send it in a high frequency and then throw it into the air, and therefore the antenna size which receive high frequency signals would be of smaller size. So the entire idea is to actually limit the size of antenna. Okay, so I hope you understood that. So it should be inversely proportional to the carrier frequency. That's the whole idea. Okay, right. Let's move on. The logic gate equivalent to the given logic circuit is, so there are certain gates here. He's talking about A and B. What is the output? So this entire circuit is equivalent to which of these operations he's asking. Okay, so have a try and then we move on with the solution. Okay, so there are two types of solutions that are given by different books on this. The one is the standard one, the safe one. If you have time in the exam, is to draw a truth table. You put 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, and then get the truth table out and check which truth table it matches. But there is an operation that I taught you, I think, in video number 1. Okay, so it can directly write the expressions here. Okay, so if this is A, this is A complement or not of A, this is right. So this is B complement, and this is a NAND gate. So you multiply these two and then take a component, right? Complement, sorry. So A complement into B complement whole complement. Remember, I told you already, product of two things with a complement, when complement comes inside, becomes an addition. So A complement, B complement, whole complement is complement in individually, but add. So what is this number? This is becoming A and this is becoming B. So you directly, without wasting time and not drawing the truth table, you can arrive at this answer. What is A plus B? It is nothing but a OR gate. So the required answer is option A. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You got some concepts, and all the concepts that have been covered from 1 to 4 almost covers a lot of things. So for the next 4 videos, we'll try to go even more quicker, and I'll try to see only non-repeated questions of the rest of the papers come to this particular video, because I know the time's coming closer to you for the exam. I wish that you go through these videos very quickly, so that before you go into the exam you have a basic idea. So it's all about choosing your correct answer, right? So in case you have simple knowledge about all these things, I think you can score 5 to 10 marks more, and that makes a lot of difference on the rank scale. Okay, so in case you want to find and go through the other important series that are playing out in this channel, links are in the description, so please do check them out. They will be worth your while. And as I always say, please do share, especially this time, at this point of time. Don't be acting jealous. If you are coming across this video and it's helping you, please do help a lot of students who are under an enormous stress right now because of the sudden non-postponement of the exam. So it would be helpful for them. Have fair competition. Try to share this video. It will also help my channel, and please request most of the people to subscribe to my channel. Okay, so very soon I'll be coming up with the rest of the 4 videos. It will take some time, but definitely I'll do that, and it all depends on the response to this video and how much it gets shared with. Okay, so thank you and see you in the next one.